Warning. The following episode contains spoilers about both the Netflix feature film-length adaptation of Death Note and the original Death Note anime series. It should also be noted that the language in this episode is remarkably explicit. If you like Karen's new catchphrase, you will love hearing her entries for Dirty Story Night on the IABD Presents network. All celebrity voices were impersonated by Nick Argenbright, and none were harmed in the making of this podcast. Enjoy, and Godspeed. Welcome to Marianne's Macabre movie review.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marianne. We've got Jessica with us today. We've got Karen.
Hi.
Keith.
Hi.
Nick. Hello. And we are covering Death Note, the Netflix series today.
Oh my god.
We have a vast array of people here that have seen different things, read different things. I'm going to go through it real quick. Jessica's read the manga. Karen has watched and loved the anime.
Yes.
Keith
Watched and loved the anime as well.
and the movies.
Right.
And the movies. And the
Yes.
movies.
And the movies.
Yeah.
Nick.
I have watched 15 minutes of the anime, did not like it, and then I read the Wikipedia entry, and then I watched the movie.
And I
the trailer.
have watched it all.
Yeah, I've
So-
watched the movies and the anime too.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but
Yeah, but the manga is the one thing that we're missing. That's the key, interesting part. So we're going to break this up into two things. First, we're going to talk about Death Note and comparison to the anime, manga, the
So
movies.
it's problems. In other words, it's problems as an adaptation.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
this is a little break from how we normally do it. We normally go, let's do 2 minutes talk about what we liked and didn't like about it. Or just the general thoughts about it. And then we get into a greater detail. But since I'm sensing that there might be some hate on this one,
Maybe just a little bit.
since it's an adaptation, let's get started, shall we?
sure.
Jessica.
My general thoughts. As an adaptation, it wasn't that great. Like,
Understatement.
as a movie on its own, I think it was alright. Like, not spectacular, but like, okay. As an adaptation, no. But there were things that I feel like I'm going to be the one that has to defend this movie.
No, you'll get one more.
Like, there were
I'll defend it
things...
too.
I probably
There were
will.
things that I liked, and things that I understand why they changed it. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But so, yeah, next person.
Karen.
Okay. So, first of all, I love the anime. I love the character L. I'm obsessed with the character L. Like, the character L has his own Facebook page, and I follow it. He's like my favorite anime character of all time, and that's my biggest complaint because they ruined him in the movie. I have been waiting for this movie for, like, literally close to a decade. Back when they were talking about casting Zac Efron as Light. Did anybody know that?
Yes.
And then there was like
I remember that.
yeah, and there was a petition that like went around online. People didn't want Zac Efron.
Dude, I would have been all over Zac Efron.
I think he would have been fine. I think he would have been the attractive, smart.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of the point of Light, really. But go on.
Yeah,
we're
might not have gotten like the
this is your
deep.
time.
He might not have gotten like the deep, dark aspects of the character is what concerned me. But anyway, and when
Didn't he win an Oscar or was nominated for Into the Wild? Is that Efron or
No,
is that
that
somebody
is
else?
Emil Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch. I get my white boys confused. I'm sorry. Okay, Emil Hirsch would have probably been better because he looks like Zac Efron. But sorry, continue. No, that took me a second. I was
That
like,
was
wasn't he?
wonderful.
Because I know he does a lot of Neighbors movies where he's like, I'm the jockey fratboard. No, sorry.
no, and you can cut me off because I might
Emil
just go
Hirsch,
on like
Jesus
a
Christ.
rant,
Yeah.
and when I need to
This
stop
is your
talking,
mini,
let me
your
know.
mini.
Okay, so,
Jesus.
and I know and love the campy, live action Japanese movies. They're not great, but they're fan service. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect. deep down I wanted fan service, but I would have been okay with an abstract, Americanized version of it. And I think that's what they were kind of going for. I was like, what are the Shinigami? Is it going to be like Brad Pitt in a suit? You know what it is? As Death, But I mean, one thing I loved Willem Dafoe. I thought he was a fantastic Ryuk, but basically the rest of the movie didn't like it. I like what they did with Misa's character. I don't like the ending that they gave her. They destroyed Elle. Overall, as an adaptation, I was not a fan. As a movie, it was eh.
Okay. Well, I want to get further into your Elle thing when we come back on.
Yes.
Keith.
Well, I mean, I would say that Elle was closer to being Elle than Light was than Light was Light. It was what? I mean,
no, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Eisenhower's a sissy. Let's go.
No, I mean, I don't. I think that ruining is like a little bit of an overstatement. I think it was more the story that ruined him rather than the portrayal of Elle. But we can split hairs a little later.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. Overall, I think the failing though. My problem is I liked Light a lot more in the anime than probably most of the people here, I would say. Certainly. And the thing that made the series work for me was how intelligent Light was. And it was the constant chess match. I mean, he...
Exactly.
Spoiler alert, but he did manage to actually defeat Elle and would have probably defeated his successors if they hadn't teamed up on him.
Sure.
But that's, more details. My point is that in this adaptation version, he was just sort of this ordinary bumbling kid who it wasn't. I mean, they saved a big reveal for the end where he sort of did some sort of machination, but it wasn't nearly on the level of what Light was doing, just like on a daily, like minute to minute basis. So
I would agree with
main
that.
Things was like if the last 5 minutes had been the whole movie, like if they'd have done the whole movie like the last 5 minutes, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
I equated the movie to the 1997 version of Spawn, which was
I love that.
which was I enjoyed the movie, but if you read the books,
Don't.
it's serviceable, but it's just in the long term things. It's okay.
I got
It's
you.
not bad.
I got
It's not
you.
horrible. But I will say that I thought the whole movie had a massive tone problem because, and I said this before we started. I don't love anime because of the tone problems or the overacting. But again, that's a culture thing. That's really big. It's like I don't like older movies because of that unless they're like the classics, like Citizen Kane or whatever. Not to say there's not overacting in them. I'm talking about like I can believe what's going on a little bit better. But like Teen Titans, the first Teen Titans. I'm so sorry, going on a weird anime rant. This is why I just don't like it, though, which is like they're having like a Batman the Animated Series serious thing happen, and then one of the characters will start doing the big, I don't know what's going on, rubbing my hand behind my head, teardrop, and it just ruins the whole scene for me. I can't do stuff like that. Granted, from what I saw in Death Note, it didn't do that, but it was a weird balance between what was going on in the real world versus what was going on with the Shigami, and that I cared more about what was going on with it. I love the mythology of Death Note. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And they did create a good mystery of it in this film. But for example, the last half of the movie was phenomenal. Loved it in terms of how they whatever. And then also the weird credit sequence was
Oh, I hate
like
that.
see, I liked it in terms of because I was like, it fits the last 5 minutes of the movie where things are going down and it's like. I forget the pop song they did for it. I was just like, you Take My Breath Away, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
You mean like the pre-credit?
No.
Or the...
Well, okay, sorry, that's confusing to say. Yeah, because nowadays it's all... So, like, at the end of the credits, when they start doing, like, the actors' names and directed by...
Yeah,
they started playing Take My Breath Away. Well, that's a weird choice, I will admit. I think that's like an 80s film director choice, which... Whatever.
Sure.
But... I was like, I like that, but I feel like that is completely out of place with the rest of the movie, which is the whole problem with the movie. Anyway, we can go on this
I
more.
feel they were trying to do a Guardians of the Galaxy feel with that. Like, let's bring in a bunch of old
But make
music.
it consistent.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, be consistent with it. Or, like, have that be something tie into...
Yeah, Take My Breath Away, performed by Berlin.
That's the original.
Okay, and we're back. Card full for a second, but now we're good. So
The problem is you needed the Shinigami eyes
yes,
for the recorder to see.
I needed to troubleshoot the issues with my Shinigami eyes. So what's up? My problem with the movie was, let's see, big list. Not really a big list. I was a lot more forgiving of the movie. I did not like the way Elle acted towards the end.
Nope.
I had a problem with how Light was not as smart as he should be.
Mm-hmm.
The other part was the weird Watari thing. But we'll get into that in a second.
So we didn't already?
No.
Okay.
Because everything got cut off that I said before.
So technically, we've gone back in time.
We've gone back in time. We are
And
now in
there's
a different podcast.
there's no Marty McFly.
Yeah.
So you're not like on the ceiling playing your guitar solo.
Not yet.
I love Marty McFly.
To repeat what I said earlier, which was said into the air for only the people in this room to hear. But I will try and repeat it. Because it was pretty awesome. I was watching it and I got a message from Jessica, who was also watching it at the same time.
You're talking about the anime, right?
No.
Oh, this is during the live action.
During the live action.
Oh, that's right. He does it in the live action. I thought you were talking about the anime.
That song in
All right.
like the back
Wow.
of the limo or whatever the hell they're in.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she's like, the old man singing the song. And I'm like, what? And it was I'm like, what is happening? Why is Elle asking for a lullaby or a song? What's already singing a song?
And why was it from The Wizard of Oz and like the Gate song?
Is it because it was what is it called when it's a free song?
Oh, royalty free.
Royalty free.
Actually, it might be.
I don't know.
I know Warner Bros. Owns the rights to the musical and the film, but I think like it's a weird spot, like the actual books of Wizard of Oz. Like if any of us wanted to, we could write our own Wizard of Oz.
Hey,
We'll do it.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, there are plenty of other
Royalty-free.
songs in there that weren't royalty free, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't really make much sense for them to try to cut corners on just that one thing. I think the idea would probably be to make him seem more childlike. Hey, there's this kids movie. Or this is something you liked as a child, or something. And this is supposed to demonstrate the relationship they had with each other,
Which
growing
was
up.
like a father-son
So, yes.
vibe.
So let's
even
get
though that
into
was-
the full-on hate for this. Or hate or not hate or whatever we have for it. All of us are a little bit different.
I got some hate if you're looking for some hate.
So, Elle towards the end definitely was crazy.
Hate.
And Light through the whole thing just really bothered me. I just thought he was not nearly smart enough to be as conniving as he was in the last 5 minutes.
Permission to hate.
That too.
Yes, permission to hate.
Permission to hate.
Permission granted.
Permission to hate.
Permission to
Okay, so I already said how I'm obsessed with Elle. And Death Note is... Elle is probably my number 1 favorite anime character from my number 2 favorite anime behind Full Metal Alchemist. But anyway...
This is Karen talking, by the way.
Sorry. Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking for
I'm sorry. Kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
interrupting reasons.
So here comes the hate. So, Elle is always cool at all times. He always thinks he doesn't feel really much of anything. He's like a machine in that way. So even though Watari died, which is like the equivalent of your father dying, that type of experience would not faze a character like Elle. That's also why in the anime it's so kind of monumental as they develop the relationship between Light and Elle when Elle calls Light a friend. That's in the anime, that's like kind of a big deal. But anyway, no matter what happened, Elle would not have turned into a revenge-hungry idiot chasing Light through the alley with a gun and then getting clonked over, chasing unnecessary with a gun, violence, something Elle would never have done, and then getting clonked over the head like an idiot. Like, he just would never have put himself in that situation. And I actually liked the decision to cast a black actor, and you can leave this part in if you want, or whatever, but I also found it maybe a tiny bit racist that all of a sudden he was like this like gun through the alley. Like it just didn't work for me at all. It was stupid.
I had the opposite effect, which is I thought it worked for the character
I
in
thought
terms
it
of
worked.
what the truth of what the movie by itself presented for that character. Like if they would have had it be where he was too, like there was no singing the lullaby thing or the way they set up, which is like, yeah, who is that guy? Well, that's Watara. He practically raised him once he got out of that. If they would have never said any of that, or they would have shown him more uncaring, but again, you don't have the time to do that necessarily, which again, I think we can all agree it should have probably been a TV show.
Right.
But I in terms of context of the truth of what the movie is praying, for me, it didn't bother me because, you know, the whole point of it that he should be a machine. He was designed to be a machine, but he is still... And maybe this is the filmmaker's fault for trying to make him relatable. I related to L a lot because of that. Because if you killed my dad, I would probably lose my shit.
And that's interesting coming from somebody who hasn't watched the anime.
Right.
Well,
No,
that's the thing is this is really adaptation versus the film as a standalone entity.
Well, and
Right.
if I'm remembering right, in the manga, L does get upset. He doesn't freak out to the degree he does in this movie.
Right.
Because Watari did basically, right? He's an orphan. All the little dudes
Yeah.
who are also detectives who are not in this movie
Well,
Near
are
no.
orphans.
literally, they
and, like,
literally
he
set up
takes
Chekhov's
care
gun
of
in
them.
this one, which is they make a very valid point on knocking it over so they could later. And I was like, that dude's going to pick up a gun by the end of it. He's going to drive him that far. Now, grant, how they got him to go that far, like Watari was okay. Would I have liked to have seen more? Sure, but what else does L have to lose?
True.
And in terms of that, you just have to go, okay, well, that makes sense that he would. But they clearly do say, yeah, he makes a point to never touch guns. He doesn't use weapons of any kind. He then rubs it into Light's face at the diner, kinda. Like, yeah, I'm not going to attack you. I don't use weapons. What are you doing? No. Like, and then he's like, you drove me that far, I'm going to use a gun.
And
then
it's supposed to be a mental game, a chess match, a battle of
I didn't
wits,
get
not
that
like
from
a
the
physical...
movie didn't sell it like that.
Right.
Though.
No,
So
for
that's
either.
Again, adaptation.
That's
Right.
the problem with the movie is that it was supposed to be a chess match and it's not.
And it's not at all.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like if they do a sequel, I'm hoping they do the chess game. Because at that point, he also knows a little bit more about the rules and what Light could do, could not do, whatever. But that's if they even get that far or whatever.
If it's even greenlit to go to
Yeah.
That's true.
Because, neither L or Light were smart enough
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah,
And-
because it should be Moriarty versus Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean the other thing is, again, I can't remember exactly how they left it, but it sounds like he at least. So he revealed that L knows that Light is.
And so
Here at
does
this
his
point.
dad.
Yeah. So I mean, the chess match aspect came from the maneuvering of, I think you are, but I can't prove it. I know you think that I am, and I'm going to make sure that you can, the maneuvering.
And ultimately,
It was all like-
L grows to respect Light.
Yes.
Even though he thinks he's Kira, he respects his intellect and his wit, and that's kind of how they develop a friendship. And then I think, even though Light the whole time is trying to take L down, Light does feel some guilt with that. But if we talk about, the problems with Light's character, in the anime, I always compare him to Walter White of Breaking Bad. They start out with, seemingly doing the wrong thing, selling meth or killing people, typically aren't good ideas, but you empathize and you understand why the characters are doing what they're doing. But by the end of the story, it's not their original motivation is lost, and it's just about their ego and them trying to stay in control.
It's about making a deal with the devil, and the devil wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, but Light does cross that line. Eventually we're like, yeah, like crime's going down and let's kill all the criminals, but then Light crosses that line. He kills Ray Penber, the totally innocent
And he's not
FBI
in the movie,
agent.
right.
And he's not in the movie, and it's all kind of downhill from there. Until, spoiler alert, he gets the best of L even after they were, friends and everything, and by the time that happens...
But that's like season 2 and 3, isn't it? Or is that in the first
There's
season?
only one season.
I thought
it's
there
just
was
37 episodes.
Yeah.
There's
There's
longer
sort
than
of
a typical...
there's sort of a division that happens where they start changing the opening and ending theme.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that's
I got you.
typical.
So, the one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I've forgotten it already, so we can just...
All right. So rape him and so forth. I mean, that's also symptomatic of something, the element that was completely left out of the adaptation, which is, it wasn't just him killing him for no reason. It was to keep from getting caught. This is the person who was set to tail him. And so we didn't really get to see any of the surveillance things happening. It was a very long, drawn out kind of, again, the chess match aspect where, you respect Light's character because of the way that he is evading capture in a very ingenious way. So,
and he has a piece of the death note, in the bag of potato chips when he knows he's being watched, and he kills the kind of petty purse thief just to prove, throw people off his track. Right. But again, it slowly becomes less about keeping the world safe and getting rid of truly dangerous criminals, and more about Light staying in power.
Well, part of that, I think, is because they changed the base personality of Light, because in the original, Light is like this paragon of Japanese teenhood, I guess. Like, gets good grades, is super handsome. He doesn't have friends, because he's an asshole.
And he's too smart for everybody.
But this is like, he's very
he's revered.
The veneer
Sure.
is like,
absolutely.
he's so
And
gorgeous and
idolizes
smart and
him.
wonderful.
Sure.
And that is not a character that we would be sympathetic with in America. We'd be like, who's this asshole?
That's true.
So they
I never
changed
thought about
him
that.
to an outcast, which Americans are really more...
Underdog.
We get it.
Yeah,
We're like,
that's
immediately.
a
We're
good
like,
point.
okay,
He
we
killed
got
his
him.
mom, and
Yeah, and his
his
mom's dead.
And so
dead.
he wants revenge, and his dad's a cop, and he can't get the law to
so
work
a
on
lot
his
of
side.
the changes are because of this changing of personality, I think, to make him more palatable for Americans.
Sure.
Because in the original, he needs no coaxing to use the death
That's
note.
exactly-
It falls and he's like, name.
That's true.
Killing
that was
someone.
the one
Really
thing
good point.
that I forgot momentarily was in this movie they made Mia be the one that had to do all the hard stuff, like all those FBI agents. Oh, they're all dead now. Oh, did you do it, Shinigami? No.
Well, yeah, and Ryuk has to convince him in this
he's
one to
like-
get him to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, Mia's like, nope.
And
Yeah,
so
they made her the bad guy, not
Made her-
Light.
Yeah.
So
and
we
it's like,
missed
Light
the-
had no qualms about it in the anime of just being like, all right, well, okay, I need this guy to do this. I'm going to give him a headphone, going to make him hear it. Now write down all these names and imagine their person in your head.
Yeah, so we miss all of the god complex that he developed.
Exactly.
In the original, where he's like, no, my decision is the best.
Yeah.
You guys aren't smart enough to know what's going on.
But the character wasn't set up to do that.
Yeah.
Like, the worst he would get would be vigilante, like, I'm doing the right thing for the right reasons, and my awesome, hot girlfriend is in on the ride with me, trying to help me. That really is the chess game by the end of it, is realizing that his girlfriend's, like, it's not with L, so to speak, and I don't...
Oh, yeah.
It's really more, which to me, I was expecting that, and so when it became more the girlfriend, I was like, oh, I wasn't really expecting that at all. Like, so again, that's why the last 10 minutes of the movie was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Heartbreakingly good, but it's I don't know, it's still off, but.
Yeah, because he starts doing that immediately and, like, realizing you can control people's actions and doing all of that to leading up to it.
And it was her
and
that
you don't
figured
get
it
that
out.
until the end in this.
Right.
adaptation.
Which, this is why I feel like if they do a sequel, they are setting up the ultimate chess game, because the only people are left, there's only, if you count Shinigami, there's only, like, 3 other pieces left outside of him, which is there's the dad, there's Light, and there's L.
Yeah,
That
and
no-
at this point,
yeah.
technically L doesn't know for sure, because he could be believing it's the girlfriend, and that Light was just this unwitting
Pawn.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's entirely possible that if they had a sequel, it could go that way, and that's how they could develop the sort of rapport and
Yeah, because the note he
eventual
finds is the
kind of
list of the,
friendship.
is it the FBI agents that she put into the math book and she tore up? Yeah, that's what it was.
Because it's like, because he has to get his name.
Yeah.
To kill him still.
Right.
Unless he just straight up
Also,
kills
I
himself.
like mythology building, and I love the fact that in the book, in the Death Note, there are multiple people trying to spell Ryuk's name, and they can't get it right.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was big, because remember, that's one of the rules is, I think I read on
letters.
Wikipedia, which is that if you write his name in, it removes you from the Death Note, or it kills him, or something like that. It removes him from the equation, so he's not So
It's his death note so that he can't be killed by it.
But it takes him out of the running from at least that person. It kind of frees you from the death note without you dying or something. It's something. It's a mythology thing. I was like, oh, that's neat. And of course, there's like, he's not your friend. Do not trust him. The typical stuff. And then you can see him. He's trying to spell his name, and he can't get it right. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's so cool. I like mythology building though. So
I think you probably like the anime then, if you actually.
Again, I read the Wikipedia and I was like, I love the mythology of this whole show. I just can't.
So,
you need to stick with it longer than 15 minutes. Sorry.
Or if you're like me and prefer to read it.
It would probably take me 2 years to get through it. I have a horrible problem with anime. Like, I will fall asleep. It just is not entertaining to me. I don't know why. Sorry. Anyway.
It's okay.
What I was talking about was the other thing that Jessica brought up was, they made a light more palatable. And so what I'm saying, or I'm trying to say, is over here, I feel that after the original shock of the Shinigami Ryuk, immediate is pretty like, this is a thing now.
You're talking about the anime or the movie?
The movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an American version.
And that's why in the American version, it wouldn't have surprised me if they kind of did something totally out in left field. For example, like, Brad Pitt in a suit, like replacing the whole idea of a Shinigami to totally Americanize it.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
But I don't know. I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because Willem Dafoe was great.
Yes, he was really good.
But you're right. The accepting of a Shinigami was definitely different than it was in the anime.
One of the comments I would make about the Americanization process, too, for the movie format is they seem to be relying heavily on the retro trend of 80s-izing things like it's more like hey, let's make a Stranger Things out of this. All the 80s music and so forth.
Sorry, I love Stranger Things, but it's nowhere. I know that's what the thing they tried going for, but and I enjoyed the film as it was okay. It's nowhere near that level.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's not what I meant at all.
Well, no, I know, but they were trying to go for that, and they didn't do well, is what I was trying to say.
Right. But that's the comment I'm trying to make is that, when you have people in the decision-making process, they tend to look at the superficial similarities between things and try to overlay it onto the properties to make it as successful. It's like, this is what people are into. So,
like Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
That too.
It's like.
Yeah, but they even weren't consistent with it, though, man. Like, they just had that awesome song at the end, and I was like, oh, it's just fun. That's on point. But then they didn't do anything, like, the whole movie didn't have a soundtrack like that.
Yeah, I got taken out of the movie by some of the song choices. I was like, what is this?
They had more songs.
Yeah, they were all, if you're,
Keith, do you remember any of them?
Nope, not at the top of my head. I remember that at the time I'm going, oh, that's that song. Oh, that's that song. Why are they putting that song? Okay, well, I see what they're doing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't feel like, at least Guardians, I feel like there's a narrative, or like you can understand the choices of the songs. This one, I didn't feel like there was.
Reckless, performed by Austin Craw. Optimistic Voices.
That's the Wizard of Oz song.
Okay.
Optimistic Voices.
Skater Carousel, performed by Sorcerer. Deceive, performed by, that's probably not one. Don't Change.
Yeah.
Performed by In Excess.
Yeah.
Stalemate, performed by Io Echo. Take My Breath Away, Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't fit.
Yeah.
Like, the moments didn't fit with the music. And I was like, what are you?
I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Right. So it was,
I forgot about. Oh yeah.
Power
so
of Love
bad.
by Air Supply.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
And then once more with Feeling, we also have Take My Breath Away again, and I'm reading the IMDb, so they put it in twice.
I forgot about the Chicago song and Air Supply.
Oh God.
They were trying to create a nostalgic kind of feel with it to help supplement whatever. But
So, have we vented all of our hate out? I know we can probably get more out, but is there more?
Some more.
I got some more hate if you want more.
Well, let's change gears and let's talk about this like in Marianne's Macabre movie review, let's just talk about it as a horror movie. Let's forget that it is
An adaptation.
Yes.
Okay, Ryuk is amazing.
Yeah,
and he
Ryuk
looks
is amazing.
fucking awesome.
And he does look fucking awesome.
I do like
it.
how they
It's
shot him
great.
too, where they didn't really reveal him
Yeah,
too much either, which
yeah.
is
Shadows.
it's a budget thing. But I thought that worked really well because because as a fan, your instinctive thing is it's like Jaws. You want to see what the shark looks like.
Yeah.
You want to see what any of the monster looks like.
But
And
your brain makes it better.
and your brain does make it better, and then when they do kind of show him a little bit more at the end where he's laughing, it's just as more sinister.
Sure, I
Which-
liked it too.
Yeah,
And he
'cause-
still eats apples
Yeah.
appropriately.
Yes. You want
I-
to start?
Yeah, sure. Like, Willem Dafoe is my favorite actor.
No.
So I'm automatically biased
Oh, okay.
towards loving him.
Literally your number one favorite actor.
Yeah, like literally. He's my favorite. But, no, I really liked him. He was, I know we shifted topics. He was different
Mm-hmm.
than,
The anime.
The
review,
anime.
Yes.
he's
But
less playful, he's more sinister. But I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how he makes it clear pretty early, like, I don't give a shit about you. When it's time and your name's written in this book,
Done.
done.
Yeah.
Also, don't fuck with me. Also, start killing people, please. Because, like, I'm bored and I need you to do something. Get on with it. But yeah, like, his voice is... Willem Dafoe's great for villains anyway.
Mhm.
But, like, his voice was great and he looked amazing. And I
Do
was
you
like,
think he changed it at all for Ryuk, or do you think that was just like his speaking voice?
I think he lowered it down a
Yeah,
little.
Yeah, it felt pretty similar to Ryuk, similar enough to me.
yeah, and this is a lower register evil.
Technically, it's his Green Goblin, which is technically he lowers it down a little
Green
bit. Yeah, he taught me very much.
Yeah,
Do it
it's
well,
more
but very sinister, lowered register.
But in his
I
last
was waiting
movie,
for you to say the line.
Oh,
because-
sorry.
Do the line.
It's like, Peter, you're like a son to me. He's like, blah, 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 blah. Godspeed, Spider-Man. Yeah, that's but I mean, he lowers it and it's like, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Light, light, light. It's the same, very weird. Yeah, he just lowers it. Like, and afterwards, he's
evil
probably...
monster voice.
It's his evil monster. He's like, that was a good take, yeah? That's probably what he does. You want me to go lower? I can do lower. Light, more people, please. I'm getting bored over here.
Yeah, and his laugh, his sinister chuckle at the end. I was like, perfect ending.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah. What did you... horror movie aspects of it.
Sorry, I don't know if I can, okay, first of all, I'm usually annoyed by people who are like, the book was better, blah, 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 blah. So, now here I am, I'm that person. But I can't turn my anime brain off. But it's just a movie. I mean, it was fine. It was kind of trying to be 80s nostalgia.
She's really
Trying.
hard
I know
to
she's
like
trying
it.
so
I
hard.
know. It wasn't, campy enough to be, campy good. You know what I mean? Like the Mortal Kombat movies, live action Mortal Kombat.
I
They're
love that
so...
person.
They're so campy and terrible. They're awesome. It wasn't really that. It was kind of 80s horror movie, okay, I don't really know what to do with it. And I'm trying to view it through the eyes of someone who hasn't seen the anime.
Which is hard.
Which is very difficult for me. But if people liked it, that's fine. I guess it's a palatable-ish way to introduce people to the franchise, and I'm fine with that, as long as they realize with the disclaimer, this was a series condensed down into one movie, and there was a cultural shift, there was a lot of stuff left out that really just didn't do a lot of things justice.
Mm-hmm.
Ryuk played that sort of classic figure of externalizing the evil force that is making Light do these things. And it's like the deal with the devil. I think somebody mentioned it. I don't know if it was on this recording or when we lost, but yeah, it made it seem much more like I guess it was a misdirect in some ways, which was kind of nice. It was probably supposed to focus our attention on Ryuk, and then, the girlfriend's really doing this, and then
and he's
that was also another misdirect. They just turned him into a generic cop that was chasing them. Another story conflict they added in for that purpose. Another driving. Oh, somebody's going to catch us. Here's the face of the thing that's going to catch us if we don't do this right. So, I mean, there's certain by the numbers kinds of aspects to it, and the twist at the end, if you hadn't seen the anime before, you wouldn't known you could play with the rules in that way. It was kind of it would probably be a little bit more mind blowing.
I was waiting for that more because when I read the Wikipedia entry, I was like, I thought you could do crazy stuff with this, and they weren't showing it, and I was like, well, for what they're doing, I like it that. Well, it made me like light a little bit more because I was like, if he's the one being that manipulative, I'm like, you're really trying to make me hate him at that point.
He was a much more sympathetic character in this than he is.
Now, does that make me want to see him fall more? Yes. No, I mean, that's what Walter White, you kind of want to see him break bad.
But by the end of it, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, by the end of it, like, I feel like the end of the movie, he's at that point where he's just like, do I keep going with this? My dad seems to be aware of what's going on. And I'm not going to get rid of...
Kind of like when Skylar gets involved. Making the Breaking Bad comparison.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, do I keep going? Or do I just stop here? Because I feel like I feel like I'm in a good place right now. I mean, I'm in the hospital. but I'm alive.
And he's super confident when he's telling his dad at the end. Like, he's like, I did this. Like, he's not the, wilting flower that he was earlier in the movie.
True, but I also feel he's also at that point, too, where he feels he's done, and then he looks over, and there's Ryu sitting there laughing. I'm like, oh, it's just beginning. But,
you're never done.
You're never done.
But then you see Elle at the end, and he finds the Death Note, and you're kind of like, is Elle gonna break bad and start using the Death Note? Like, what's going on here?
I would hope not. But
because that would really contradict the character.
Yeah. I think if he did use it, I think he would to understand the science of it, because he would pick that apart. But I don't think...
Which is actually what happened in the anime. I mean, he did come into possession of the note for that purpose and treated it very much like that.
So I would be intrigued to see that. That'd be awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No. I was saying this is another example of why you would like the anime if you could actually get through it.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
So...
There's 2 Death Notes in the anime?
Yeah, Mia has the other. Misa. That's what I'm saying.
And
I think they're going to
Shinigami eyes. They left out the Shinigami eyes, which are badass. Do you know what Shinigami eyes are?
No.
So Misa's deal, she had like a Shinigami admirer who just thought she was so adorable, and in the anime, like everyone has their name and their days remaining, like written in like red neon lights or whatever above their head, and only Shinigamis can see this. So Misa's time had expired, but her Shinigami admirer just couldn't stand it. So he wrote the name of the person who was going to kill Misa in his death note. And by doing so, interfered with like the natural order of things and what was meant to be. So that Shinigami ceased to exist. That Shinigami's death note fell to earth and became in Misa's possession. And then Rem, who was friends with her Shinigami admirer, whose name eludes me. Keith, do you remember?
Wait, which the admirer who died?
The admirer who died.
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember. No. But then Rem, it was not Rem's death note, it was the admirer's death note. And then Rem becomes like Misa's keeper on Earth and promised to, his friend who essentially sacrificed himself so Misa could live longer. When that happened, Misa got the remaining life from the Shinigami who died, which is, they basically live for like ever, right?
Yeah.
As long as they kill people.
As long as they kill people.
Killing people, they get that excess life that's left over from the person.
Exactly. But then anybody who gets a death notes come with optional Shinigami eyes. So you can trade half of your remaining lifespan, which you don't know how long it is. That's the only thing you can't see. You can't see your own remaining lifespan. But you can trade half of your remaining time for Shinigami eyes that give you the power to see somebody's name and their remaining life. And
that's rad.
And isn't it awesome?
No, that's rad.
And then Misa chooses that. So Misa has Shinigami eyes. Light, being the egotistical, arrogant asshole that he is, who says, no, I want to live as long as I possibly can. I don't need Shinigami eyes.
You need to do it, yeah.
And then he makes Misa do it. Now,
She's
part
a
of...
dumbass, in case
And she's a dumbass. She's a total dumbass in the anime. Then part of Light's plan, so Misa's in love with Light, and he's using her, and the whole thing, he's trying to get Misa to meet L, so Misa can see L's real name, so they can kill him.
Oh, okay. See, now, oh man, that's way too convoluted to put into an hour and a half.
Yeah, but it's badass, though.
No, it is badass, but I feel like, especially after what they did to Light in this one, that, like, which is, he will never trust a lover again to that extent, and if he did, he will do that.
Right.
He will completely use them.
That's my thing that I was a little annoyed with, going back in comparison. Again, I know
there's no avoiding it.
There's no
we're going
avoiding
back
it.
and forth. He's like, hey, pretty lady, I got a death note. I can
that was
kill
annoying.
people. I was like,
Oh,
fuck.
right.
That was pretty bad.
And she was like, I'm a cheerleader. There's nothing else going on in my life. I live for this shit.
But I love
I'm a
killing
cool
people.
cheerleader that smokes while I'm being lifted.
What
Yeah, that was
happening?
that was.
So the audience could see
bad.
your little cheer.
The
most
Dance the
with
shoulders.
a cigarette in my mouth.
The most consistent thing from the original to this is how fucking annoying the main female character
I
is.
know.
Like, I was just like...
She's annoying in a different way. Like,
She
in the
is.
anime, she's
Yeah.
bubbly annoying.
Well, and she's just so stupid, and she just worships the ground Kira walks on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, are you fucking serious right now?
Yeah.
And in
my
this,
gosh.
she's like, murder, boner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically,
I got a murder boner.
you're not murdering people enough. Like,
Come
this
on, I wanna
relationship
kill-
is no longer satisfying
I
because
want
you
to
aren't
kill all
killing
the
people.
FBI
It's no
people.
longer satisfying for me.
Yeah.
Basically.
So
Let's give the death note to me.
And I was like, could you stop?
Yeah.
We need to kill your dad. I'm like, you're gonna do it right in front of him? Like, shit, you think he's not gonna try and stop you? This is not the Megaloomaniac from
Yeah.
the original. He's, like, still kind of soft.
Yeah.
What are you doing
No.
here?
See, I wonder if that would be the next big thing. Is that, again, thinking ahead, that the second one is really about having to come to terms with he has to kill his dad, and at that point he's just off the chain.
Well, yeah, because that's what
That's
makes
his
it so
last
satisfying.
Do you
when
think the
eventually
director will
Rube
do
kills
another
him.
one despite the death threats?
No way. There-
Maybe not. I also don't think he'll do social media.
well.
What?
He won't do social media.
That's
Oh.
ridiculous.
No,
I mean, I can believe it, but I can't believe that.
Which
fucking
to clarify what you think is ridiculous. So
that he got death threats. That's
Like, look,
Well, nothing's that
it's
bad.
nothing is
No.
ever that bad unless you're like, a racist president of the United States, maybe. Throwy, sorry, got too real.
So I want to talk about. I'm going to try and talk about the horror part of the movie.
Sorry, we're just like hijacking your podcast.
So what there are jump scares in it, but there weren't ones that were enough to actually scare people.
I didn't shriek, and I shriek at everything jumpy. So
that's a thing.
and I'm normally the scaredy cat.
Karen is our scaredy cat for the show. There is some awesome gruesome deaths in it. The beheading of the bully at the beginning.
when they go off the side of the building. I was
Yeah.
like, how lovely this shot.
Yeah.
Be gone. It kind of reminded me of The Happening, though. But I was like, there they go.
So horror.
It wasn't very horror-y.
It wasn't.
It was more
really wasn't.
suspense.
If you take it as okay, I have a friend that is in the movie group and created his own movie group.
Do we hate
Loki. He had never seen Death Note before. And I think you were the one that said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" Blah 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 blah. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Oh,
And
no.
we had all made comments about this, about Death Note in the Marianne Macabre movie review private group where we look for people to come on the podcast. And what was interesting was Loki then went and found this movie on Netflix. I don't know why. Like he had to dig around to find it. But he enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 is what he gave it. So if you have absolutely no knowledge of the anime, then I feel that it's probably a good movie. I mean,
It's a 6 or a 7 for me.
Yeah,
so.
that's pretty much what I would give it to. Is probably 7 or 8 if it's just a horror movie. 7, 6 or 7. I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of tone problems like I have with it, like, but in terms of horror, I mean, I would say it's more gore.
Yeah.
Horror.
Yeah.
Not like
gore horror.
Right.
I like. I mean,
the more of a like cheap Tarantino feel than like
and not like practical Tarantino, like CGI Tarantino.
right.
Because except for the beheading of the bully, that was obviously a bit of both. But I was like, damn. Ugh. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Whether or not you found the movie scary, though, I think it has the elements of what a horror movie would have in it.
Right.
But
A Faustian bargain, people be dying,
Yeah.
blood
My
everywhere.
thing with horror is it doesn't necessarily have to be for horror is different for everybody.
True.
Like Frady Cast, I am positive Amanda Iman could not watch this.
That's yeah.
She
didn't even watch Gremlins, supposedly.
right.
What?
So, yeah.
Gremlins.
She hasn't seen it. I agree. Well, the first
No,
one.
like-
I thought it was scary when I was a little kid. I mean, it was like
It's
I was like 10 when I was.
classified as a horror film.
Well, in Blockbuster, it's a comedy section.
I
I
The first
distinctly
one.
remember that.
The
from-
first Gremlins is
I
comedy.
play Gremlins
Yeah, but it's dark
in
horror comedy.
the store during both Halloween and Christmas.
Well, that's another discussion, which is it a Christmas movie? Which I agree, yes, it is. But the first one is like they go out there. The deaths might be comical, but they're not. They're played for horror. And that's because Joe Dante did the Roger Corman horror movies and stuff like that, like Piranha and all that. But the second one is completely comedy. Like it's straight up like
the second one.
New York, and stuff like that. But none of the deaths here were gory comical, like B-movie cheesy comical in that regard, but they're played serious.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're just more gory
It
than
kind of
anything.
reminded me of like Final Destination,
That's exactly
Yeah.
like
He
the
made that
later
comment.
ones,
Yeah.
because like the first
You
Final
know
Destination
what? I
really
can
liked.
see that.
One of the things that you mentioned and I
And
wanted
there's
to
more
say
movies.
I would love to see them do more of if they continue doing it is the idea of Final Destination, which is if you take someone's life away from them and like do they have their clock is ticking, they're at 0 and they somehow find a way is there a way to survive it using the death note and you kind of get a sense of
You have
that
to
in the
burn
movie.
page.
But that's what I'm saying, like I'm intrigued by that.
Well, there are some specific rules about that. That when you're watching anime, they list out as the episodes go on. Between the commercial bumpers, they give you like, oh, here's a random rule from the book,
Yeah,
and some
yeah.
fairly intricate things. I think there's something about being able to avoid the notebook entirely by misspelling someone's name 4 times, which I don't know if that had anything to do with Ryu.
well, yeah,
And
and because like the manga does the same thing, where it's like
Sometimes.
when they first introduce the Death Note,
You can also cross
there's like
somebody's name
3
out.
rules, and then as it goes on,
They add
you
more?
randomly get other ones.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of, I don't remember. I might be misremembering. I feel like you could add rules to it, but
Well,
I can't.
Light did that at one point during the anime as a misdirect. He needed to do it so that
That's right. He wrote it
you
in,
could-
and
you
it
could
was like,
fool the police.
that's right. That's what
Okay.
it was. But yeah, at the end there were like fucking 90 rules or some shit. I was like, no wonder he stopped reading them in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just like rules.
Well, but
I was going to say though about the Final Destination thing.
Yeah.
I was a little off put by that at first when I rewatched the anime recently. There was something about if you put in, you write the name and you specify just generic accidental death, then some crazy thing could happen, like what they were doing, like to make it.
Yeah.
To make something within the realm of possibility happen to kill that person. So
Yeah, because in the anime it was everyone dies of a heart attack.
right.
Yeah.
And so if you have a teenager, like, why did he die of a heart attack? That would
Yeah.
start being really weird. But
I guess in the movie they were sort of defaulting to accident instead or something instead
in
of
the
heart attack.
movie, he pretty quickly started upping it, like having them write stuff in blood. On
Yeah,
the
he
walls.
writes. He
Yeah.
specifies decapitation.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch that. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
he did.
yeah, and they write
Yeah,
the
because
Very
Ryuk
strange.
is like, now write how.
Mm-hmm.
write who, then write how, and then he writes.
Yes.
And he's like, this kid's a motherfucker. I'm gonna make this, like, as gruesome as I can.
But especially that scene, the end, with the Ferris wheel,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, the way it was lit and all this, it very much
Very
hardcore Final Destination
Well,
is what I was getting.
so horror-wise, to go back to that though, do we consider suspense? Well, if you found it suspenseful, did you find suspense to be more attached to horror, or is it just suspense? Because
No, it can be part of it.
I'd call it more of a crime thriller
crime thriller,
Really?
yeah, I'll go with
than
that.
a horror movie.
I think it has the violence or the death scenes of a horror movie.
That's
Right.
horror. Yeah,
Yes.
you can't. Yeah, it has to be a
It's
horror
hard to-
movie with decapitation.
And plus, there's a Shinigami. There's a demon character that's saying,
That's
"Hey,
true.
you've made this deal with me. You have to keep doing this sort of thing." So,
And so let's just start our wrap up. Well,
Yes.
differently, what I'm going to do, we usually do 2 scores, entertainment value, and actual, like, what would you rate the movie if you were given 1 through 10, IMDb? Shall I watch this again later on in 8, I'd watch it. No, 2, I wouldn't watch it.
Oh, number scores?
Yeah. So, and then the third one is the hate value. Since this has such an emotional connection to the anime, I want to
What's the number value for hate? Is like 10 is like extreme, dear God, destroy it hate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I
sensing a
expect
10 in
your,
our
I
future.
expect yours and mine to be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So let's start. Go ahead.
So entertainment value?
Mhm.
I mean, I was entertained watching it. Probably like a 7.
Okay.
Actual critical score?
Mhm.
No, like 5.5 maybe.
Mhm.
My hate was pretty low. I'm actually really good. There's only one adaptation that I fucking despise, and that is Ella Enchanted.
Oh.
I will still watch it, but every time I watch it, I'm like, this is nothing like the fucking book.
You hate watch it. You hate watch it.
Yeah.
Is that...
I've like accepted it over the years, but like just because I love that book, and it is literally nothing like the characters have the same name and that's it.
No.
And you're like, what the fuck? But so I'm pretty good at separating my
Yeah.
feelings from
Good.
watching
I'm
things.
glad.
My hatred, I don't know. I mean, there was probably like 3. There were some things that I was
Okay.
like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like even for movie, like,
Mhm.
is his name only Watari?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have a real fucking name.
He's like Madonna and Cher.
That's
His
what I
real
said. I
last
was like,
name.
That makes it hard for him to get trust accounts and other banking documents, at least if you're a banker at Chase, banking with Chase, because they need 2 names. Or they literally will call you Watari.
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
kidding.
it's like Misa
that
Misa.
was a, Misa, Mario, Luigi, Mario, like, no joke.
But like it's hard to separate.
Take us back, Jessica, take us back.
Taking it back. It's hard to separate, like, because I don't think I could ever really hate an adaptation of Death Note super hard just because I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like they at least kept,
Yeah. It's not like Ella Enchanted where they.
yeah, where it's
They were
just the
just
same
like-
name, fuckers. But like, but like they still like they tried, and I understand trying to make it more palatable for Americans,
Yeah.
especially who have no idea anything about Japan except that it's a mystical place
Mhm.
full of tentacles and
Yeah.
Sailor Moon. Like, you know,
and,
like,
and Godzilla.
and
Oh,
Godzilla.
thank you. And Mount Fiji, where Rodan rests at the base of when he is needed to fight King Ghidorah. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, like, Godzilla and Sailor Moon. You know, maybe some Dragon Ball Z. So, like, I get how they're trying to make it more so that a wider American Netflix watching audience would enjoy it. So I'm like, I
Yes.
appreciate
Wider.
the effort.
Wider.
A wider,
Yes.
that is a good,
D or
Did you
T?
say whiter or
White
white?
with a D.
Oh,
Not
okay.
a T, right?
we said D, right?
Yes.
Wider.
Well, I like how you were questioning her. It's like, what did I say? Did I say
No, it was
the
D.
It was
Okay.
D, yes.
That's what
what
you
I
were
thought.
saying.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yes. We were saying wider, WIDER, not WHIT.
Sorry.
Although that was
I thought
the
you were
controversy.
that was
Yeah.
the controversy, which we didn't really not really talk about, which is that a lot of people were either upset with L or Light was not Asian American.
Yeah.
Which,
But then that would have been
Typecasting, you know.
well. I mean, a wider audience still would not have related as much.
Right.
But
sorry.
But that's a whole other
Yes, sorry.
debate.
Right.
But yeah, I appreciate that they tried to make it logically
it's like that
story that was different enough that they could condense it into
little
a movie.
Billy. He wants to go do baseball, but you know what? He's just that kid that wears the helmet all day. He tries really hard.
Yeah, so it's like you tried.
Good job.
Personally, I
maybe you
wasn't a
T-ball.
huge fan of it. Mm-hmm. But again, that ending, that last 5 minutes made up for a lot of problems for me. Because I loved the last 5 minutes. I was like, more of that.
I was just like, yeah.
Also, Willem Dafoe ups my score.
So wait a second. So I have 3 ratings.
3 ratings.
Okay.
We'll start out.
Entertainment.
We'll end with hate because
Okay.
we know what we'll start with entertainment. Then we'll go to viewing, and then we'll do.
Okay. Entertainment value, I mean, it's Death Note. I've waited 10 years for this movie. I'd have to give it, like, at least an 8, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, IMDb, like, why you guys laughing?
I feel like
that was higher than I expected.
I was a little, I get it, though.
You know,
No,
it's,
I
like, long
understand.
anticipated. Like, I was gonna watch it no matter what, and I was gonna be glued to it no matter what the outcome. IMDb rating is like a movie, and I'm trying to remove my biases. 4 out of 10 maybe. And hate, I don't know, because like I would hate fuck this movie.
Whoa!
Damn!
But there's still something kind of enjoyable about that.
Look at me with your Shinigami eyes. Fuck it, yeah. Look at my time left. See how much time I have. Yeah.
That's not in the movie, Nick.
Oh, shh. It's okay.
So I
Put that in the goddamn sequel. Yeah. Sorry.
So I don't know. I mean, hatred, I'd have to put it at like an 8 or a 9.
I was expecting 10.
I know.
I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm trying to be reasonable.
Cheers to you for that one.
Now this is just the image I have in my head. It's just Shinigami watching.
Shinigami watching.
Actually, they always would have to be. That's very... Or they typically would be. They're just locked onto the host, essentially, at that point. So. Anyway.
So he's an exhibitionist. That's why he was boning so much in this.
Yes.
My problem right now is, one, that I have a headache, which makes it hard for me to think back.
Sorry.
And no, it's not you. 2, I already had a headache anyway. And 2, having so recently rewatched the anime, it pushed a lot of that other stuff out of my head. So it's hard. But I remember I had to keep pausing it a lot to talk about things that I was having a hard time accepting.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are different types of entertainment. I think I'm along the lines of what Karen was saying about it's the fact. I think Jessica said something very similar as well. The fact that it was a Death Note movie at all was entertaining in itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was entertaining to go through and kind of pick apart what it was doing and what it wasn't, and so forth. So 7 or 8, somewhere around there, maybe 6. It's hard to say. Was I being entertained by?
Hate watching it.
Right. Yes. So let's see.
The next is
IMDb.
score.
Right.
You can skip it if you don't want to do it.
Just give it a 5 or 6 and move on. All right. So hate. There's a lot of mitigating factors in it, and some things that Jessica was mentioning already. The Americanization. I mean, understanding why they did the things they did and thinking about some of the decisions they made. I understand. I still disagree. I don't think that it should have. Right. They just shouldn't have done it if they couldn't have done it. Right. I guess is why even bother doing that? So yeah, hate is probably going to be up around a 7 or 8.
So you would hate fuck the movie too, in other words.
I suppose.
He's like,
I mean,
I'm not really sure.
I'm probably gonna have to watch it again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I owe it another chance because I've just forgotten so many things. How long has it been? 3 weeks?
Probably.
How long has it been out?
He's repressed it so hard.
Yeah.
The 24th of August it came out.
I remembers
Okay.
a
Well,
day that will live in infamy.
That's right. That's right.
just in case the other part was left in, into the podcast, maybe it will be now that I'm bringing this up. I think if the audience should really do themselves a favor and go and watch Gremlins 2 if you haven't, and then watch.
You will never complain that.
and then watch the Key and Peele
Yes!
sketch
Sorry.
about Gremlins 2.
There's a cute Peel sketch.
Oh my god, the best ever.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
wait till
Oh my
afterwards.
God.
Yeah.
Right, no.
Yeah.
We have 2 more people to
Right.
talk.
That's it. That was my wrap up.
So, as a gigantic Ninja Turtle fan, hold on. There's a point to this.
It's relevant.
No, it really is relevant. I have a hate-love relationship with the new series on Nickelodeon. I love the voice cast, but the writing is like, either they're trying to be a comedy, or they're trying not. So I hate watch that show. That's the point of it. So I understand, and here's the thing though. I'd rather that they're doing something than nothing at all.
Yeah.
I read it I feel the same way with the IDW comic book. I hate the origin is that the turtles are all like fucking metaphorically, brought back down from heaven and put into these little turtles that mutate. They're what is the
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Thank you, dear God.
Is it or?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
horrible. I hate that shit. Hate it to no end. But I'm still picking up 72 issues later. I'm still reading the goddamn book because I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate read and watch. So
This
I
is my
under.
favorite new description.
I under. Thank you so much for that. It's now my vocabulary. But so as a fan of other things, I completely get the logic of that. Completely 100%. Being that I'm not coming from that way though, my hate level is probably a 1 or a 2. There's some annoying shit, but to me, I didn't hate the movie because of it. It just made me go, "Oh, you are now not as entertaining to me because of it." So my entertainment value is probably 6 or 7. Like Spawn. It's okay. And then IMDb, about 4 or 5, bro.
Yeah, that's what I would.
You're about 4 or 5.
That's what I would give it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but do you need to be up there with The Godfather or It's a Wonderful Life or whatever is the top? Actually, pretty much all the Christopher Nolan movies are in the top 10, I think, at this point. Yeah.
In perspective, I would probably give it a 5.
And that's all I have. That's all I have to say.
Retrospect.
So what was your hate score?
Oh, my hate score is about a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
It's again, I don't have the fandom to go with it. And I just feel like the stuff I didn't like, I didn't hate it. Or if I did hate it, it was just because, that impacts my entertainment value of the movie. I'm not coming at it from a fan perspective.
Okay.
So
For me, I would say the entertainment value was pretty high because 1, it was Death Note. 2, I enjoy watching it with Keith because just it was enjoyable to interact with him, being like, why are they doing this? Oh my god, I can't believe it. That was great. I mean, the post that he made on Facebook was like, we've paused it. We're 20 minutes into Death Note and we've already paused it like 5 times.
I remember that. I remember that status. I was like,
oh, that's not good.
Your exact comment was, that's not good. I remember that. So, while I really, that was my entertainment value. And I've always say a movie can be really bad, but still be really entertaining.
yeah.
Kayako versus Sadaka, which is the one that gets launched in a few days. Super entertaining, horrible movie. I mean, it was just like, this is so. I mean, it was
Like The Expendables.
kind of, yeah.
I don't think Marianne likes Expendables though.
Loved it. Super entertaining. Not a great movie.
Yeah.
Things exploded. I was all about it.
Yeah. So high entertainment value. So IMDb score. I'm going to go with the group on 5, 6. I had originally started up high because I was trying to take it out from the anime and just watch it as a horror movie. it's really hard. And I was originally like, oh, 8, 7 or 8. Yeah. And then I was like, no, I can't because it's missing a lot. And there was a lot of enjoyment things that I would have enjoyed if they had put it in and they didn't. Or if they just kept the characters more on script, it seemed like, they were so off cast. It was so bad. So, hate... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you clarify that? What do you mean by off cast?
They were, compared to the anime, they were a certain way or manga. And then you bring them over into the American version. Example, Light wasn't very smart. Or very pretty. And I feel that if you compare them to if we had to have a battle, American Light versus Japanese Light.
Yeah,
Japanese Light would have just like mopped the floor with him because he's smarter in every way.
Totally.
And more driven.
And even more athletic. Yes. Remember they have a tennis match in the anime.
Oh, that's great.
Light and L have a tennis match together, and it's one of my favorite things in anime is where we have bystanders talking about how awesome the people are as they do stuff.
Yeah.
He's a tennis pro, and he's so good. His power level was whatever, that type of anime stuff. But I'm off track. So I didn't think that they were very. I think the American version weren't written well.
Mm-hmm.
So my hate score is probably right in the middle, 5. Didn't hate it. Also didn't love it either. So
it's just right amount of hate.
Right amount of hate.
Just like
I also probably would not hate fuck. That is not my thing. I'll leave that up to Karen and Keith. Let's plug what we want to talk what we're doing, and then we can edit. So, what do you have, Jessica?
I currently have nothing.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you have something. Or any podcast you've been in recently?
Amanda's.
Yeah. Amanda's.
Oh, yeah, I've been in Amanda's Pick Show A Go-Go. You can check that out at amandaagogo.com. And we've also, me, Marianne, and Keith talked about The Defenders, and that's on a website I don't remember. tvhatemybrain.com.
Yes.
Boom. Did it.
Me too. I'm just
yeah. And we will be recording another podcast on Thursday.
Oh, for it.
For it.
Exciting. Stay tuned for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
The IT. What do you have, Karen?
Yeah, so I'm also been on Amanda's Picture Show Go-Go. Jessica and I were on the Godfather 2 episode together.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd also like to plug, it'll be over by the time this goes up probably, but my Estel Introduction to Estel Voice Training Workshop at Mad Lab, September 30th and October 1st. But there will be future Estel workshops at Mad Lab. I'd like to plug that, as well as IABD and our show in October. It's going to be a good time. Nick and I are in the new segment.
Yes.
And yeah, that's all I got.
all right. So IABD, of course. This is Keith, by the way.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Nobody knew that.
No.
I'm also in that. Probably several of the Pick Show Go-Go's.
It's all been tracked.
Yes, it's all been tracked. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
That chair. I always do that to Keith.
Yeah, I'm also working on my 5th audiobook, narrating Weird Wheat by Suzanne.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, sweet.
It's should be finished. Well, the deadline is November 30th.
And we will get it done by then.
I guess.
Yes. If I have
It's
to,
a team effort here.
if I have to put you in a closet and just make you record it the whole time.
Fun bit.
Actually, that's where I'll be
he
recording.
is, yeah. He records in Actually, though, I remember I thought you showed me, last time I was here, I thought you showed me, this is where I want my closet to be. Like, do you think I could do that? I was like, yeah. And then when you posted pictures of it, like it was really nice, like really transformed. It looked really awesome.
Thank you.
You did great work.
Thanks, Stu.
Oh, my father-in-law, also known as Marianne's father, Robert Dean. Yes.
I do a lot of stuff.
GBG, for example.
Yes, GBG. Whisper sweet nothings into my ear. I do The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, which you can find at gbgpodcast.com. I also do another podcast, which hopefully in the next few months will be up, which is The Magically Unauthorized Misadventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which is at gbgpresentspod.com. What else? Oh, obviously, It's All Been Done Radio Hour at IABDpresents.com, which you can also find It's All Been Trek Before, where I do a few episodes with Keith here and there. Space Seed is one of those. I don't know when that goes up, but... Or has it gone up? Has it gone up over ago?
Well, it's not just me either, by the way. There's also Jimmy Jerome and so forth.
Jimmy Jerome, Woosley, and Amanda. And other guests when they show up. Marianne was one.
I was in the Tribbles episode.
Yes.
This won't go up forever, apparently. Because it's like a season 2 thing.
How far are you guys?
Well, we're watching season 2 right now, probably in the middle of that.
Damn, I missed the Pond Fire episode.
Yep.
Oh, yes, you did.
Damn it.
So, I don't really have anything to plug right now other than what I'm currently doing, which is this podcast, which I hope you're listening to and not just like falling asleep to it.
And while driving, because that's very dangerous.
Super dangerous. Don't do that. I guess I do have a jewelry store, Moonlit Marionette. You can find it on Facebook, Moonlit Marionette. You can also trail off and not say anything, so I'm going to finish my sentence. Well, if nobody else has anything else to say, then I think we can call this a wrap.
Yay.
Bye, everybody. See you on the other side.
Bye.
It's a wrap.